Hello and welcome. This reading is for the parents and or guardians of the Gemini child. Welcome. I am Elena Valdez, and this is for the March 2021 reading. Welcome back to those of you who've been here before. Welcome for any newbies. Super excited to have you here. Just a quick reminder that my readings here are not gender specific. You'll hear me say she, he, they sporadically, but please apply gender whatever way best resonates with your household. Okay, and let's see. So the first three cards are from the perspective of the child, the Gemini child. And this last card here, the fourth card, is the advice card for you, the parent. And sometimes it is in relationship to the conflict that your child may be having this month. Other times it's just a separate advice for you. It all depends. It changes every time. It's like I can't predict it. It just happens. If I didn't already ask, please, if you haven't subscribed, liked, or commented, please do so, especially the subscription. That helps so much, and I greatly appreciate you for it. And remember, this is a general reading. All right, let's get started. So the first placement here is what your Gemini is experiencing during the month of March. Now, I do want to pause here to acknowledge that I realize that many of you are here for a different age range. Some of you are here for itty-bitty ones, and others of you are here for teenagers, and others of you are here for even older children that are practically adults, but that's okay. So just make sure that when we discuss, because the way I read the tarot here is from a child perspective, so it's going to be slightly different than the adult readings that we're used to seeing here on YouTube. So, in other words, apply the age as well as gender in the way that best suits you and your household and the little one that you're here for. Okay, wonderful. Let's move on. So, this just came up for Taurus. So some of you may have a Taurus sibling, or your Gemini may have a Taurus sibling in the household. For those of you who don't, the Two of Swords tells me that there's some confusion going on here with your Gemini child during the month of March. It could be that your little guy is experiencing having to choose between two paths. And it's interesting to say that for a little one, right? Because a little one doesn't typically have to choose. It's usually a parent or parents are making decisions and whatnot. Or perhaps the decisions that the parents are making are having Gemini feel a little discombobulated in the sense of, well, what direction? This card can sometimes come up when there's a shift in the couple relationship, the parents' relationship. So, for example, if there's been a separation recently, and it doesn't have to be a separation like a divorce type of separation. It can just be a separation of, one parent is off to work, the other one isn't, or there's been a shift in that. But whatever that is, there's this feeling here in your little Gemini that there's a little bit of instability here. There's a lot of mental figuring out here, and there's confusion more than anything. So there's potentially, this usually has to do with things not being communicated clearly in the household. So another thing to mention, the swords is generally in the mind. It's what we think, not necessarily what's actually happening. And it's important for me to say that because maybe your little one is unnecessarily taking something on or thinking that something is bigger than it really is because something's left unclear. Something has not been spoken clearly about. It can be as simple as dad or mom went away for the weekend to do whatever, take care of grandma or grandpa, and your little one is all of a sudden misinterpreting that to mean something else because prior to mom or dad leaving for the weekend, there was an argument or there was a disagreement between the parents. Now, that's a bit extreme there, and it's very specific, so that probably applies just to a handful of you. But I think you get the drift of what I'm trying to say here. It's basically whatever your child, because remember, this is child perspective. It's not what's actually happening in the home. And not that your child's feelings and thoughts aren't valid. I'm not saying that. But sometimes children, the perspective, what they see, what they absorb is not always exactly what's happening, because many times as parents, we're protecting children, right? We're protecting them from the truth, from the heaviness and the burdens of life. But there is something here, potentially, in March that is confusing your little one, that requires clarity. Okay, swords require clarity and communication. So let's open up the reading and see if we get more indication of what it may potentially be. The devil. Okay, so the devil here, did I already show you the Two of Swords? I did, right? So the devil here is ruled by Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn. And it's all about stability. It's about authority. It's about laying down the law. It's about putting order into the day to day. So perhaps your little one is feeling some confusion because that has changed a bit. The day to day routine, the authority-ship has changed. Or maybe one parent is not, or maybe he or she is now staying with one parent, or perhaps this could be like separation, custody type of thing, where you're sharing custody and maybe spending some time with one parent, some more time with another parent, and it's changing the authority or how the rules are set. And there's some kind of inconsistency here that's not clear to the child. Okay, now on a more serious level, okay, on a more delicate level, and I want to just preface, when I do these child readings, I'm always very delicate about how I say things, because it is about the child perspective. So please, also in the processing of it, just take it in delicately as well, is what I'm asking. On a more serious level, this can indicate that there is some kind of toxic energy between the parents that the child is experiencing within the household. This can be arguing, it can be some kind of controlling behavior, because the devil is about controlling, it's about addictions, it's about obsession. If there is a parent that is being observed by the child as maybe drinking too much, or not showing up in a consistent, stable manner for your little Gemini here, that could be part of the conflict, right? Or maybe there's a shift in one of the parents' lives that's causing them to be a little bit out of sorts and not their usual self, and more in this controlling devil energy. Okay, so this is the conflict. This is why this is happening here. This is why your little one is confused. Now, another thing too, though, remember, this can go so many different ways because we're talking about themes. So if this is not something happening in the household, it can also be happening in a classroom, right? Where authority has shifted. Or maybe your little one is receiving the authority of a new teacher, because I feel like a lot of you are going into new classrooms, new teachers, new authority figures, whatever that may be. And there's a sense here that's not lining up very well with your child's needs. Like perhaps he's experiencing their new teacher a little bit too strict, too firm, too controlling, and it's not what they're used to. And so they're feeling out of sorts because of it. It can also be a parent at home, though. You see how there's these two little figures here indicating some kind of bondage. So for me, I feel like this could be um, something going on with parents or guardians, of something being off kilter a bit. It could also be classmates, though. If we're dealing with a little older age range here, like let's say we're dealing with maybe a teenager or a little older, or, again, apply it for your household, how it best serves you. But this could also indicate some control factors within the peers and classmates and neighbors, friends that your little one, communes with. So there could be a shift in the friendom, I call it, right? Because sometimes, how that happens throughout the years. You may be the same two friends or four friends that have hung out since kindergarten, and then you enter junior high together, and the authority ship changes, right? Like the level of just things shift a bit. So for some others, that could be playing out also. Okay, so again, apply it how it best serves you. But in any case, it's not going, so smoothly in that. And again, remember what I said earlier, this is the perspective of a child, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that it's what is actually going on. And if it's not what is actually going on, it's because it's being interpreted that way. And therefore, communication needs to be had to clear the air about what's happening. Again, I also understand that in protecting children, sometimes we keep information, right, to protect them. But sometimes that's where that balance needs to come in, like how much is too much to communicate so that they're not in this energy of confusion. That obviously is up to you, dear parent. Okay, let's move on to this position. This position is, I feel, the most important position of my readings because it tells you, the parent, what your child needs most from you during the month of March. The Chariot. Oh, there's some nurturing needed here. There's a need for nurturing, but it's twofold. It's also about moving away from something. And you see how this little monster here in his little flying chariot there is literally moving away from this toxic energy, like literally moving away. So for one group of you, what your child really needs from you is to move away from this toxic energy. So if you are one of the parents that is maybe dealing with a partner or a situation, it could also be a family member that you're dealing with that's causing toxicity here in the home environment, right? So it's like your child is basically saying, Mom, Dad, please take me away from this. You move away, move us. You see, it's the family moving away together and away from this energy. Okay, that could be a teacher or a mentor or a tutor that's also you're being asked to move away from. There's a toxicity here. I'm what I love about doing these tarot readings for parents of children is that it allows us kind of a heads up of behavior to look out for, right? Different than, obviously I am not a psychologist. Clearly, I'm not. It's just it's a different energy, right? This is not about therapy, looking out for clues that we know to look out for in therapy. This is a more energetic, spiritual level. So, what the tarot here, what Spirit is saying, dear parent, is to be on the lookout and even physically look at your child and see if physically he or she is exuding any new form physically. Like, are they slouching a bit more than usual? Do they look like they're more in like fetus position more than usual? Are they slumping? Do they look depressed? Do they look like, is there something that you can visibly pick up on? Because if it's not something that's going on in the household, this toxic energy, if it's something that's happening in the external, then there may be a need. I'm picking this up so strongly. I feel like it's one or two of you. Um, there's a need here to have a sit down with your child and ask if everything's okay. I'm not going to go too deep in that because I'm really being sensitive here with that topic. But there is, I think you're picking up on what I'm saying here. And I think that if you are one of the parents that needs to do that. So, your child, again, needing this. Also, though, the chariot is also represented by Cancer, which is represented by the moon, right? And that's all about nurturing. It's all about healing. It's about mothering. And again, when I say mothering, I don't mean the gender specificness of it, right? You can be the father mothering and nurturing your child. So there's a need here for more nurturing. It's almost like this heaviness here, this controlling toxic stuff is taking away from the nurturing. So if you are one of the parents that's so intertwined or so caught up in this stuff that's going on. Perhaps you moved away a little bit from the nurturing side because this has got your attention, right? Because there's a distraction here in the way. And so your little one just needs some more loving, some more caring, more reminder of whatever, however your child feels nurtured, you will know it'll be different for all of you. That's what your child needs here in March. And to move away from this. Okay. Now let's move on to the advice. Yeah, so there's some slow movement here. So this advice I feel is, okay, this is twofold, dear parent. So there is a need to rebalance your own self-worth and self-esteem. That's for one group of you, because that's also affecting this dynamic. So this, for one group of you, this is about moving forward, because the Knight is about movement forward. And you see how he's holding that one pentacle? It can illustrate, or it can talk about your money, your worth, your resources, your value and whatnot. So it's almost like picking up whatever's left of your value system, whatever it is that you need to take with yourself that this is taking away from you, and moving and slowly moving away from it and making a plan to build differently. Okay. There are three scenarios happening here. There are some of you that need to get away from a toxic relationship that's affecting your child. There are others that your child is experiencing a heavy hand or controlling aspect from a teacher, tutor, or parent. And then there's another group that there's something hidden here that's toxic, that's happening behind the scenes that your child may not be communicating with you. So I think this is a heavy reading, but let's pull it back a little bit. Here in the Knight of Pentacles, it's about moving forward with whatever it is that whatever values, sometimes we're in a toxic situation and it's like our own self-worth gets stripped away. This is telling you that whatever it is that you have to hold on to take it and move away. You see, again, we have another character here facing the opposite direction of the devil, right? You have two cards here, moving away and moving towards and away from something. This is moving towards nurturing yourself and nurturing your child. This is about moving away to nurture your self-worth and your own pentacle, meaning your own value, your own stability, your own money, your own income. It's slow moving. So there's patience required here. There's patience required here, because this is not just affecting your child. This is very personal. This is affecting you. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. I can go so much deeper here, but I think it's going to get heavy really fast. So I'm going to just pull back a little bit, because I think it's enough said. And I'm going to pull one last card, and this is a new thing I'm doing this month, and it's these cool cards that I recently received as a gift, and I love them. And the question is, what can you do with your family during the month of March? That's what this card is about. It's not a tarot card. It's not really oracle either. It's kind of more like a fun kind of card, rebirth. Wow, that's intense. Even your fun card was intense. Okay, so this rebirth card, this is intense. So this is what the spirit is saying is something you need to do with your family, your entire family. This is like a little bonus thing that I included here this month. It's not just about your Gemini child, and it's not just about you. This is your entire family, and advice as to what you should do together. And the word is rebirth. So it's about walking away from something and recreating yourselves as a family. So there's definitely something here that's being walked away from, or there's a sense of loss, right? Or It's almost like a rebirth. What is rebirth? Rebirth is about dying to old identities, right? Leaving things that no longer serve us and to be born again into something better and stronger. This is what you got for your family. That's huge. So it's like your family is requiring you, your entire family is needing to have a rebirth, a recalibration, a renewal, which means that it's needing to leave something behind. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Woof, that's a bit heavy one. Not gonna lie, that was heavy. So was Taurus. Taurus is a little heavy. All right, everyone. Have a beautiful March. Enjoy the spring equinox, and I hope to see you back here in April. And please subscribe if you haven't already done so. I greatly appreciate all of you, and I hope you have a wonderful month ahead. Okay, ciao.